guys, Jason from Jason's Works here. Got a really cool video to show you today. Been wanting to do this for a while. It is how to make silver wire using your coins and your auto punch. So it's basically using scrap material from making rings or bells, and you can incorporate that into other types of jewelry. So basically, we'll be going through process of silver quarter, silver half dollar, and a silver Morgan dollar. But you'll be able to see these processes here to start with something like this, and then you can go to something like that, which could be hanging from your bell for your clapper, or earring, or pendant, or whatever, and you can even make that as well. That's about, I don't know, 30 inches of silver wire just coming from one of these out of a Morgan silver dollar. So anyways, that's the process, or that's going. I'm going to show you the process on how to do those things. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it. I think I'll just start with a silver quarter with the, the nuances of that coin, and then go to the half dollar and then the Morgan dollar. So first and foremost is the silver quarter. And the trick with doing the wire is to figure out what your finished hole is going to be. And for silver quarters, I typically do the 7/16 for the finished hole. So for quarters, because they're so thin, and you want that wire to be as thick as it is wide, so we actually start with one size smaller punch, and this is the 3/8 if I remember correctly. So you first punch your quarter with a 3/8, and then you punch with a 7/16, and that will produce that. For the silver half dollar, it's going to be a bigger hole, but also two sizes over for the half dollar, and then the Morgan will be the largest hole, and then three sizes over to initiate as your first punch. So, but let's just do the quarter first for now. So we'll get that going here. So we'll get the auto punch, and I want the 7/16 as the finish hole for the ring. So I'm going to start with the 3/8 punch. So we go there, always double check, make sure you got the right size, get that in there so it spins. Always keep your housing flat on your bench. Don't pick it up when you after you insert the coin, because the coin can slip. So we'll go ahead and set that in there. And I'm not annealing first, just to keep the work hardness on the coin to help protect the detail. Don't go too tight, just have to snug it down. If there is a question, you can always flip it over and look inside to make sure your coin is flush and centered. And we'll go over here to the Burr Life, or you can just use ivory bar soap or a nice clean hard soap. Okay, so here we go. And just light taps until that plug falls out. There it is. So there's your 3/8 plug. You can use that for earrings or a pendant or the handle on your bell. Alright, so we'll take this guy and we'll just knock that coin off real quick, and it just falls off. So there we go. So I did the 3/8. Now I'm going to go to the 7/16, and that's the size hole that we want for if we were making a ring. So we'll put the 7/16 in and screw that down. Look inside, looks good. A little Burr Life, and just lightly tap, and there's the ring. So now we've got silver wire, in ring form. So what we'll do, I'll go ahead and get this ready for the next go around, but I'll show you how to anneal that little ring. And I like to keep my pinky on the punch while I tap it down. And so now that's ready for a ring. You could even go, could probably even go one size bigger for the with a ½ inch on that. It just depends on, for making a ring, larger the hole would be smaller the ring. That because the bandwidth of the ring actually widens, and then the larger the ring, larger the hold on, larger the ring, smaller the hole. Okay, because as the ring stretches, the band will actually get narrower, and then smaller the ring size, you want larger the hole, because as you reduce the ring, the bandwidth will widen. So, but that's kind of getting technical, but a good trick to know if you really want to maximize your rings. So, but we're doing silver wire today, but that is a good tip. Okay, so silver wire. So we need to anneal this and then cut it and flatten it out. So we'll go ahead and get that guy right there. Now, because it's such a small piece of silver, it's going to heat really fast. So I need to do kind of, back away from it a little bit. And I saw that orange flame. It's always best to anneal in a dark room so you can see the true color. But with a little practice, you can watch for that orange flame on the silver and you'll know that you're annealed. So that's annealed there. And what we'll do is get some side cutters and just cut this like so. And then because it's so thin and small, we can just do a lot of the forming with our fingers. But then you can get some pliers, and these are specialty pliers. They're a flat face used for jewelry making, and basically just want to flatten that out to make the wire. Now it's really cool with the square wire like this to twist it, but silver quarters are unique in that they are so thick and so thin in different parts of the coin that it makes it difficult to get an even twist right now as it is, because the thicker parts won't bend as fast as the thinner parts. So I just wanted to show you just how quick it can, how quick you can get a square wire. If you did want to twist this, I would recommend putting it through a draw plate, which I'll show you later. But this will even out the thickness of the wire so you can twist it. But for right now, we're just going to keep it as is. And here are some round pliers that are specialty jewelry pliers. And we can create a little loop on the end just by twisting it like so. And then you can bring it back. Like so. And so now you can use that for lots of different things. So there we go. And also, of course, clean it up using your buffing pads, probably prior to bending it. You can also use a file, but the buffing pads work pretty good to knock off any of the sharp edges. So now we'll go to the $50, and I'll show you that. So with a $50, I'll typically, for like a size 10, I would go with probably go with a 5/8. That'll give a good band. But before I use the 5/8, I want to go 2 sizes over for the $1/2, which is a 1/2 inch. So we'll do the 1/2 inch first. Move these guys over. So 1/2 inch, double check, that's the one. Set that in. Double check the coin, we're good to go. So 1/2 inch first, tap that. Plugs out, so you can use that for pendants, handles again, or just scrap that you can melt down and alloy to sterling silver. I've got a sterling silver calculator that's really cool that a friend of mine made. Pop that off, that came right off. Okay, so now 2 sizes larger to our finish hole of 5/8. So we'll set that in. You can see how I'll go to the left to kind of let that thread drop, and then I know I'm good to go to thread forward. Tighten down, double check, we're good. So we're going 2 sizes different because the $1/2 is thicker, and we want to get as close as we can to equal thickness and width for the wire. So go ahead and take this guy off. Alright, so now I'm set to make a ring out of that or flare it for a bell. But here is our wire from the $1/2. And we'll want to anneal that. So we'll go here. So it's a little bit thicker, so it's going to take a little longer to heat. But not too long. Alright. So there we go. So we'll take the side cutters and cut that guy. Start to bend it out. A little bit thicker, so it's a little bit harder. And the flat pliers right here. So we'll just start straightening that out. Now, because the $1/2 is a bit more uniform in thickness throughout the coin, we're going to try to twist this into a twisted square wire, which is really cool, really pretty. So there we go. I want to try to get as flat as we can and square. So I'll take a rubber dead blow hammer and just on this soft pad here, or you can use a piece of wood. Wood works well as too. We'll just flatten that out a bit more. And again, you can use the draw plate if you want this a little bit longer and a little bit thinner and more uniform. But we'll go through that process with the Morgan dollar, I think. You can also get a file just to square it up a little bit. Clean off some of those edges. Looks nice and uniform, nice and square, so that's good. Now, the trickiest part in twisting the wire, twisting a square wire, is to get uniformity all throughout the material, uniformly annealed. If one part is harder than another part that's softer, then the hard part won't twist as fast, and the soft part will twist much faster. Same thing if you have, one side's thicker, one side's thinner. This is a bit more uniform, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. But the annealing part is really critical. I prefer to work with the wire at night, so I can really see the color and go from there. But we'll do our best here. It's also important not to get it too hot. If you get it too hot, then that will weaken the metal and it can break if you're trying to do the twist or do a draw on it. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up a bit before we do the twist. A little bit thicker right there. And that's just from, the eagle wing or what have you, but we'll see how well it twists. So for the twisting, I like to use just a bench vise and just clamp the one end like so. And then you can either use your flat face pliers or just even a regular pair of pliers. Or if you're dealing with a really long wire, it's several feet long and really thin, then just a drill like this or cordless. Just go slow on the cordless and really watch the twist rate. But we're just going to take it nice and slow. We'll see how it twists. So yeah, it's twisting right here really fast. So I'm going to work harden that piece a little bit. See if I can cheat. So that part either got hotter than the rest or it's a little thinner. It actually looks like it's a little thinner than the rest. Let me double check. So 0.067, 0.073. So yeah, it is thinner. So that's the reason why it is twisting faster. So let me see what we can do. I'll make that the looped end and we'll twist this thicker part that's a little bit more uniform. See how that works. Yeah, that's looking better. So that's a pretty good twist right there. So you can see the difference in the uniformity of the twist due to the thickness of the metal. But what we can do, so rather than using those round pliers like before, here's a really cool set of pliers, and I'll try to find all the links where I got these different tools and put them below in the description. But this will automatically form and trim a loop for you. So you just set it in here. Make sure I get a good. So you see there, it's bending. Come on, camera. There, we almost had it. Okay, so we're bending and cutting at the same time, forming that loop. And then I like to bend this back to make it perpendicular to the loop. And that's just a really cool way to make these guys really fast and accurate. So, and you can even solder that, you know, close it up a little bit more, solder that to make a super strong joint right there. So, but that would be great for hanging a clapper on a bell. So, going from that to that is really fast compared to the other ways of making wire. So we'll do the Morgan Dollar next, and we'll go through the beginning process of making really long thin wire, which is really cool because the Morgan Dollar gives you a pretty good chunk of silver to work with to make longer wire if you want it. So with the Morgan Dollar, depending on the size of the ring or the bell shape that I'm looking for, if I'm making a small ring, like a size 8 or something, I really want that large hole to make that bandwidth narrow so it looks more balanced on a small finger. So I would go with a 3/4 inch, and because the Morgan Dollar is even thicker, I'd go 3 sizes down. So 1, 2, 3, which is what size is that? 9/16. So that'll be my first punch, and then the final punch will be the 3/4. I'll go over here. So 9/16 first punch. And that's what's really cool about these auto punches and how accurate they are. It's just a really accurate punch, and this is kind of proving it, being able to make silver wire. So there's the plug. Again, you can use that for other projects or just scrap. So there's the first punch. Now we'll do the 3/4. Lay that coin in. Oop. Almost forgot, or I did forget. The larger punches go on the inside first. I'll start the thread and then I'll pick up on that punch just in case it moves that coin around off the pedestal on the inside, but we still got our space. Double check on the inside, we're good to go. So and that punch falls right through, and there is the wire from a Morgan Dollar. 3 sizes difference. So we'll go ahead and anneal that one. So there we go. Nice and annealed. And we'll go ahead and cut that. Quite a bit thicker. There we go. Yeah, I'm not moving that one. So with this guy, and I'll just start on one end and just kind of work my way around. With this guy, we're going to use the draw plate. We want to get this a bit longer because it is a bit more silver. And the draw plate, I mean, that's if you want to take it to the next level. If you really want to maximize your ability to make wire, I would recommend the draw plate. I mean, they're not that expensive, and for what you get out of it, I think it's well worth it. If you like making wire, I love making wire. It's just cool because it is expensive to buy. I mean, they make it, you know, they manufacture it using big machinery, and they do a lot of it real quick. But this is just neat to be able to have simple tools to make something that is relatively usually difficult to make. I mean, you'd need rollers and molds, you know, casting equipment, and just a lot of different tools and machinery to make the wire, but this goes really fast. So that looks pretty good. I'm gonna flatten it out a little bit more on here, I think. And because I'm bending it, flattening it, I am work hardening it a bit. So I will anneal a second time before I go to the draw plate. Alright, so back to the annealing. Put this down here. There we go. If you get a little bit too hot, just let it cool to a dark heat and then quench it. But again, if you get it way too hot and it starts to reticulate or deform on the surface, then it's probably not going to work for the draw plate. It'll become too weak. So just be very aware of how hot you're getting it when you do the annealing. I'm just going to clean this up a bit. You always want to try, you can pickle in between the draw plate pulls. You know, I get maybe 2 or 3 draws per anneal with the wire, and then I'll, you know, draw it 3 times, 2 or 3 times, and then anneal again. And it's always good to clean off that fire scale in between using the draw plate or the roller or any type of forming tool. But yeah, I'm not doing the pickling. That takes a long time. So the tools required for drawing is, well, your wire, number one, a draw plate, and this is a square draw plate, and then drawing pliers, and beeswax. So that's basically the equipment that I would use for making wire. And this wire here will go to this wire here. Now this is a round wire, look at that. And that's, you can't even see how long that is. right there. That's probably 30 inches or so, maybe 25, something like that. Um, and I switched over I went down as small as I could on the square, and then I switched over to a round plate to get this all the way down to 0.26. That's the last one right there. And you can see on the square plate, the company, those are all the types of wire that you can make just by using a draw plate. You got triangles, squared, star, oval. I don't know what those are. It's really amazing the different types of wire that you can make. So the key to get started is to have the tip of the wire fit through your first hole that you want to draw through, and you want to insert it from the back. So I'm just going to go down until I find one that's pretty tight. That one's pretty tight. So that's number 6. So I take a note, number 6, and what you want to do is just create the tip of that wire, have it smaller than the rest of the wire, just so you can get it inserted that far in order to grab it with your pliers. And you can see the pliers, how this specific draw plier, it has a square nose up top, has really grippy teeth, and then it has a curve on the handle so you can lock your hand in and really yank on it. So that's the reason why they use these pliers in particular. So I'm just going to flatten those corners like so. Knock that down and then file it down a little bit on the corners, and that'll allow that tip to protrude through the opening, the number 6 opening. Double check. Go a little bit more and get that corner. So number 6, yeah, that should be good right there. I'll be able to really get a good grip with it with these pliers. So the beeswax, they call it a jeweler's booger for picking up stones if you're setting stones or whatnot. But it's also used for drawing. You just put a little wax on the back of the wire, and that acts as a dry lube for the draw plate. And these are usually carbide inserts, but that will give enough lubrication to let it go through. The friction will heat it up, melt the wax, and then lube the rest of the wire. So, but you can see some nicks and stuff. That should all be drawn out after a few draws. So we'll go over here and we'll get number 6 just above the vise. So we're coming in here, see if I can get a better view for you. So we'll grab the tip of that. Sometimes I'll kind of wiggle it just to get a little bit more if I can. And then it's really important when you draw, not to draw halfway and stop and then draw again. That'll put a little kink in the wire. Once you start, you don't stop. You just keep going. So Here we go. So there's one draw right there. We'll put a little more wax on it and go to the next size down. See if we can get one more draw at least. So the next size is 7. All right, I gotta knock it down a little bit more. So sometimes you can get away with 2 draws without having to bring this down anymore, but we're not doing that right now. We gotta take this down a little bit more. Yeah, I think it's just pretty cool to be able to use every part of the coin, especially on a project that incorporates several different pieces, like a bell, or an earring or a pendant, really anything. But to use the entire coin for every aspect of that piece of jewelry, I don't know. It's kind of hard to find something like that. So I think it's cool to be able to do that. So let me check the number 7 plate. Maybe. Okay, we got a pretty good grab. So here we go, second draw. So there we go. So now it's pretty work hardened. So I actually would want to anneal this before I go to the next hole size. But I should have taken the length of it, but it's getting longer. But this right here will create that, which is pretty darn cool. Now the next trick, when this piece starts getting really long, or long, thin and long, it becomes tricky to anneal. To anneal something that is 12 inches long, it gets kind of weird. So that's when you want to start coiling the wire. And of course, the thinner it gets, the more likely you are to burn through it when you anneal. So you've got to be super careful not to do that. And I'm going to be real nervous annealing this. But you can see how springy it is. There's a lot of spring to it. That's telling me that it's work hardened. And maybe for whatever project I'm doing, maybe I don't want it work hardened that much. Coin silver is 10% copper, 90% silver, and the copper is what makes it hard, or more hard, I guess. So it's really springy when it gets work hardened. So what we're going to do now is very carefully anneal this wire here. And then I'll show you another trick on how to work harden it without putting it through the draw plate, which is a pretty cool trick. So let's do the anneal now. So I'm going to really back that flame off. Try to get it a little bit more in the dark if you guys can still see it. I really want to back that flame off because once it gets too hot, then it's too late. You're done. So, okay, here we go. pretty good. Got a little hot in one spot, but I think we're okay. We'll see. We'll see how it turned out. Oh, we got sunshine coming through. That makes it hard to see. But you can see when you're heating it, you can see the coil kind of start to relax and just lose that hardness, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it's nice and soft. It doesn't have that spring to it. It's wanting to keep the form, or not keep the form, rather. So there we go. Just clean that up a little bit. Just getting that fire scale off. And then if I were to draw this again, I would take that beeswax and just run it, kind of pinch it in between the wire and the wax, or my thumb in the wax, and just run it down the wire. Do that on either side a couple of times. And then that is ready to draw for the next time. But it's already down as far as I can go. But let's say you have a dead soft annealed wire, but you want it work hardened, but you don't want it any smaller. So this is a really cool trick. What you do is you take the end of your wire and you put it in your vise. Lock that down really good. And then grab a pair of pliers. We'll use the draw pliers. And you actually want to grab the other end, like so. And you actually snap it, like that. That will work harden your wire. You're bringing the wire, you're working it, stretching it like this, and that will work harden your wire. So you can see there it's already stiff, or stiffer. Oops. Slipped out. So you just snap it like that. And now it's probably, I don't know, 50% work hardened, something like that. You can see it's much stiffer to coil up. So yeah, that is, I think, about it on the wire. Again, it's just really cool to be able to have the auto punch as a multi-tool, really, for punching centered holes in coins or any disc, and then to be able to make wire that is really inexpensive to do, compared to having to get casting equipment, torches, molds, make pouring plugs like this, which is a lot of fun and really cool. But you need the rolling mill, just a lot of stuff to make wire otherwise. But to be able to do it quickly and efficiently with the coin scrap that you already have, I don't know. I really like it. Really enjoy it. Hope you guys dig it too. So I think that's about it. Let me just go through what I wanted to hit. Wire shapes, got that. Got the twisting down. The twisting of the wire is really cool when it's a square wire and it's pretty good length. And you twist that up and it's a nice even twist. There's just something about it that's just really cool. We get the quarter, half dollar, and dollar. Yeah, I guess that's it. So loop on end. Yeah, we got it. We got it. All right, guys. Really appreciate it. We got a very long video. If you made it through this far, congratulations. That's awesome. I hope I was able to show something that you found interesting. Let me know in the comments if you did. I'll put the links to the punch, and I'll try to get the other tools down there too. Shout out to Rio Grande. I got a lot of the tooling from them. Amazing company. Love those guys. And yeah, I'll put some links down below. And yeah, go from there. Let me know if you guys have any questions on it, or if I didn't cover something as clearly as I should have. I can revisit. But I really want to do this video so you have another way to use the punch, and it's also a precursor to the bell making that I hopefully will get to soon. The different processes that I use for that. So, but this is a really key feature, I think, because you're able to minimize your scrap by utilizing virtually everything out of your coin. So, all right, guys, thanks again. Really appreciate your time, and yeah, have fun making silver wire. See ya.